They broke up with you, don't let them win. Very often after a breakup, we end up feeling victims because we didn't take the decision to end the relationship. In this video, I'm gonna share with you one simple technique that will help you feel better, that will also create a sense of regret and potentially act as a wake-up call for your ex. I'll explain everything after the jingle.
IGetMyExBack.com. Everyone deserves a second chance.
So this is how it works usually, from unfairness to submission. So the simple act of breaking up with you, you perceived it as something very unfair because of potentially you're thinking everything that we had, the projects, the kids, the house, everything that we shared, our memories, our holidays together. How could that person do this to me? Also, everything you did for the relationship. You know, I was there when they lost their job. I was there when they were depressed. I was there when they lost their mom, for example. And now they decide to end this relationship with me. That feels unfair. And so that's going to trigger a chimp response. And I'm going to put a link for you if you're interested in this experiment. It's very interesting. It's about how chimp react to unfairness. So there's an experiment where the scientists sort of give different rewards to chimpanzee, and the reaction of the one realizing that he gets cucumber instead of oranges is really, really fun. But in a way, I'm mentioning this because we react the same way. Our primitive brain is not very far from a brain of chimpanzee. And so we react with anger, with guilt. And so very quickly, we shift from this anger, this guilt, to a form of submission. And I will explain in this video towards the end how you can achieve this sense of fairness. Because you want to feel a sense of balance. The problem is that after a breakup, it's creating mechanically a form of imbalance. So first of all, what happens is that we want to remove the pain. And it's normal, it's natural. This unfairness, this shock creates an emotional pain. And when you look at, it's very interesting that when you look at brain scans, it's exactly the same area in the brain that is activated than physical pain. So heartbreak is exactly the same area in the brain. And so we are thinking, this needs to stop now. The same way when, I don't know, you burn your hand, you remove your hand very quickly. The same pain drives us to feel it needs to stop now. I can't bear it anymore. Right? And you might have tons of physical manifestation or emotional manifestation, like of sleep, overeating, or sleeping too much, not being able to work. Very, very often people call me like, I'm useless at work. It needs to stop, help me. And it's normal, so don't feel that you're weak or you're sort of weird reacting this way. That's totally natural. And so the problem is that when we are in pain, we have this logic around they broke up, the pain is coming from this breakup. Therefore, if we get back together, I'm going to remove the pain, right? And so, where do I start if I want to get back together? I need to stay in touch with them. I need to talk with them. Maybe trying to convince them, trying to explain how much I love them. And with time, if I message them and they know that I'm alive and I try to seduce them or make them jealous, over time, we get back together. That sounds logic, right? It is not. Obviously, it's not. And the idea is that the postscriptum at the bottom is that everyone goes through this logic. It does make sense. It's stupid. I'm not saying that you're stupid. You're in love. And so my job as a therapist and making those videos is not to tell you that you're stupid. It's to tell you, hold on. There are other ways to deal with this. Don't listen to your chimp brain. Don't listen to your emotions, because sometimes they are not necessarily the ones, usually, the ones helping you to make the right decision for you, right? So don't be ashamed. Don't feel guilty or stupid. It's normal to feel this way. My job is to tell you, just don't do it. So the impact of staying in touch, first of all, the pain. The idea of staying in touch to handle the breakup. Again, that's the fantasy and the fallacy that people have, is that if I stay in touch with them, it's going to be easier for me, because having this person completely removed from my life is too painful. And so we feel that, having some news act as a form of emotional cushion or airbag. In reality, what happens when you do that is you're bouncing back and forth. And you probably, if you've done this before, you know what I mean. You feel like you message that person and you get a sense of, especially when you receive a message, you a sense of relief and okay, they know I'm alive. But then you have these emotions, these sort of depressive thoughts crippling because they're not with you anymore. Or they are taking a lot of time to reply. And so you go back and forth like this. Sometimes a very strong image is way, way better than any words. So I've decided, I found this GIF, which I find really funny. And if you find yourself struggling whether you should go no contact, whether you should break no contact, remember this picture. What you're going to do is create this back and forth. I'm going to burn myself and I'm going to sort of have water down the fire and I'm going to do it again and again. I don't have to explain you the impact of this. It does make sense. It's not leading you anywhere. You're feeling you're going to get stuck and you're going to, in a way, build even more resentment, and this will affect also your self-esteem. So the self-respect, the self-esteem. Remember that your ex decided to end this relationship. And you're trying to argue and you're seeing that it doesn't make sense. You don't agree with that decision because you know they love you, you know they're making a mistake, and perhaps they're making a mistake. You know that they need you in their life, and it sounds like out of nowhere, out of the blue. The problem is that when you stay in touch with your ex, that will reinforce an idea of neediness and dependence. And so by trying to convey some ideas, and again, I'm not arguing whether you're right or wrong. That's not the point. You might be right. And very often people call me and they describe the situation and I completely agree with them. You know, your ex is making a huge mistake. Let them make that mistake. Because if you're trying to be the one sort of influence their decision or manipulate the outcome, they're going to push back. They're going to feel like, I don't want this person anymore trying to decide for me. Another important thing is the dynamic. When you stay in touch with your ex, you allow them to eat the cake and have it. I love this expression. In French, we say the butter and the money from the butter. The problem is not to show them how much you love them. That's not the point. That's not what will bring them back. The problem is to let them experience how much they miss you, right? If you're always around, if you're always there, to also act as a form of emotional airbag, it's not going to work. Very often I have people calling me, we've been married for 20 years, he wants to change, he wants to have a new life, but he still wants to be friends and stay in touch with me. That won't work for you, right? He needs to be in line with his decision. I'm taking an example of a woman, but it could be a guy. Okay, it's very important for you to understand, yes, it's hard, but you have to let go of this because it doesn't work for you. So this breakup is hard on you. So my point is, don't make it easy on them. Don't shift into, you need to be aggressive, you need to be negative. It's just making them facing the consequences of their decision. They need to truly experience the pain, right? The thing that they've initiated. So sometimes people, they take the decision of breaking up with their partner. Sometimes it's out of impulse. Sometimes because there's a lot of things that were bottled up and it's, explodes at some stage. They need to experience a life without you. They need to figure out that when you're not around, things are slightly different than they anticipated. And so the best way for you to make it hard on them is to disappear, is to go no contact, is to reclaim your independence, is to work on yourself, is to find ways to build more resilience. Also for you to reflect on the relationship. Because what will happen is not only they'll have another perception of you and the relationship, but you will also have another perception of them and the relationship. And you're going to start thinking, do I want someone who's unsure? Do I want someone who keeps on changing his or her mind? Do I want someone who doesn't know what they want? Because Right now, your only job is to figure out, what do you want? Don't tell me, I want to get back with my ex. That's not an answer. If you take the test and, multiple choices answer, this wouldn't be in the boxes you have to tick. Be careful. So it's really about, what do you want? How can you establish healthy boundaries with your next partner? The next partner could be your ex, don't get me wrong. What are the things that you want? What are the things that you don't accept in a relationship? Being with someone who doesn't know what they want should be a boundary, should be a limit that you don't want to cross. And that becomes fair. That becomes a place where you'll finally feel that, okay, we're equal. And the relationship can be healthy, or we can start on new terms because you've worked at rebalancing things. If you have any other question or any comment on the video about the chimps, let me know in the comment section. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye, take care.
IGetMyExBack.com. Everyone deserves a second chance.